bring cameras and eyes anywhere I go. That's not, it don't matter where I go. I know my teams and I know the influence I have, on society and on culture. So wherever I go, it's definitely going to be an improvement than what it was before I got there.
And just like that, no lies were told. What's poppin', people? Your boy Snacks is back in the building with another banger, and you know how we do. Before we get started, we got to give a shout out to the viewer. That would be you for taking the time out to stop by and watch this video. But while you're here, make sure you do us a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to leave your comments down in the comments section. Because you know we like to read them. And y'all be going ham in the van. But before we get started, we got to give a shout out to our ladies, the CU aunties, because they are always, and I repeat, they are always in the building showing love and leaving comments and sharing the videos and doing all of the above. But lately, not even just lately, since the draft, we've heard about what are they going to do with those 2 first-round picks that they have for next season. And all I've heard was they should draft a quarterback. They should tank the season. And a lot of the local reporters are giving off that same type of vibe and speaking that same verbiage. But let's talk about it. Now, I found that here a lot during this dead period since it's come up, and now that Shedeur tickets are somewhat fading away. They're not going to fade away completely. People are still going to talk about it. It's going to be brought up in every conversation, in every video until the end of July when camp starts again. But what we are talking about is Shedeur, Dillion Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, and the old man. All 4 quarterbacks. And as we know, the Browns have 2 first-round picks for next season. Their original pick, in whatever fashion they finish the season, depending on where they finish in the season, will determine where their pick number will be. And they also have Jacksonville's pick for that trade up to get Travis in the first round. So the consensus has been, what do they do? And the overall message from everybody in the local media has been, well, they should figure it out and then draft a quarterback with one of those picks they have in the first round next season, regardless of how these 2 quarterbacks do this season. Some think they should find out what they have in these 2 young quarterbacks for the season and determine it from there. But the consensus is it don't matter what they do. We drafting the quarterback next season, which I find kind of stupid. But I'll let you hear from
the most exciting quarterback on this roster is Shedeur Sanders.
Yes, without question.
The most practical quarterback on this roster would seem to be Joe Flacco. The second most practical would be Kenny Pickett. Is this season a tank without admitting it? Do I have to admit that this season is a tank? Because the moves that they've made this offseason, that's not tanking.
No.
Giving Myles Garrett a whole bunch more money and making sure that he's a Brown for the rest of his career and bringing back Joel Bitonio, being encouraging of Joel Bitonio coming back. Not trading away some of the other names, which, yes, again, is easier said than done with dead cap space and everything like that. But again, if you were to be moving on from you-know-who, you don't care about dead cap anymore. You're firmly tanking for everybody to know. Do I have to admit that this year is about the next year and the year after that?
I think so. I think
because I don't think that they're willing to admit. That's why I'm not.
Now, this talk is not just Ken Carmen and Anthony Lima. This talk is on all of ESPN's Cleveland shows and all of the outside local media, the people that cover Cleveland as a whole. It has been the consensus that this is a tank season. We see what we got in these two quarterbacks, and yet and still we take one of those draft picks we have in the first round next season and draft a quarterback, which is absolutely dumb as hell. Dumb. You have two youthful quarterbacks. There is a rarity in football where about every 3 or 4 years, a young quarterback emerges and does his thing. It's about every 2 to 3 years. A young rookie quarterback emerges his rookie season and does the damn thing, just goes completely off the Richter, unexpected numbers, goes to the playoffs, and things of that nature. Washington had that last year. So history tells us that it should skip this season. But due to Cleveland's history of quarterbacks since their return in 1999, they have had 40 quarterbacks in 26 years, which means the lifespan of a Cleveland Browns quarterback is about a year and a half, tops. Excluding Deshaun Watson, Mitchell Trubisky, freaking, what's his name out of Oklahoma? The Johnny Manziel guy. Excluding those few quarterbacks, the average lifespan of a quarterback in Cleveland is a year and a half. Cleveland has no past of developing quarterbacks because Cleveland is too busy looking for lightning in a bottle. They are, yes, they've drafted some really, really bad quarterbacks. They've also drafted some good quarterbacks with bad coaching. I'm not saying Kevin Stefanski is a bad coach, but between him and Mr. Berry, you drafted a quarterback in the 3rd round. You drafted a quarterback in the 5th round that you traded back up to get in the 5th round. We know your quarterback that you drafted in the 5th round is better than the quarterback you drafted in the 3rd round. But to save face, you are going to put the quarterback that you drafted in the 3rd round, Dillion Gabriel, on the field and in game before you put Shedeur Sanders out there, so you can save face and say that you exhausted all means. Oh, wow. Shedeur Sanders or Dillion Gabriel won't get a fair amount of playing time. I'm not saying they start game 1, but like I've said, after game 3, your rookies should be hitting the field because you won't get a fair assessment of what they can do in 3 games apiece. It's never going to happen. And it seems as if instead of picking a quarterback and saying, this is our guy, we got at least 3 years to see what this guy is going to do. And if not, we're going to go to this guy. instead of trying to get better, because you only have, I'll say, 1.5 wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy and the number 2. Receiver is a position you need to be invested in. That offensive line is another position that they didn't draft for this season that they need to be invested in, because that offensive line they have currently are old guys. They have a young right tackle, but they need to put more investment into linemen and skill positions. Yes, Shedeur can take a average receiver and make them good. What is the receiver that they got this year? Deontay Jackson or Johnson or some crap like that. He was at Pittsburgh with Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett targeted him over 137 times. So whenever you hear him on an interview, he's going to big up Kenny Pickett. And we all know Kenny Pickett ain't that guy. Little hands, 2 gloves. We know that Kenny Pickett is not him. So, but anytime you hear Deontay talking about the quarterbacks, Kenny Pickett will be his quarterback of choice, because Kenny Pickett was his man in Pittsburgh, and he got plenty of targets. And when it comes to a wide receiver, targets are the key. Being able to go after the ball and get the ball and having the ball thrown to you is what they want. But this notion of the Browns tanking this season just to go back in the draft and draft another quarterback, which y'all think this draft class of quarterbacks coming out next year is going to be amazing. It's not. It's not. It's not. It is not that overwhelming. It's like 3 of them. And one of them is going to the Saints, which is Garrett Nussmeier. The Saints are going to trade up and draft Garrett Nussmeier, no matter where they think they can get him. They will put capital into grabbing that man's son, because his father is the offensive coordinator. And then when they do that, I want y'all to drag him the same way y'all talked about Prime and his kids. But what needs to happen, what shouldn't happen, is the Browns give up on this season. We know Shedeur is more than likely the best quarterback this team has. And that's where their investment needs to go. Into other things other than a quarterback. You need to take the quarterbacks that you have and say, this is what we're going to do. Because if not, then this year was a complete waste. You gave up 2 picks to get Shedeur, 1 pick to get Gabriel. 1 pick to get Kenny Pickett, and you drafted Dillion Gabriel in the 3rd round for nothing. Joe Flacco is a wash because he Joe Flacco. He old, and it didn't cost him that much to get him. So y'all tell me, what's really going on in Cleveland? Are they wasting time worrying about drafting their quarterback next season instead of investing in the quarterbacks that they have now and trying to push forward and see which one of the 2 quarterbacks that they have are they going to ride with for the next 2 to 3 years? 3 years. Should be 3. But we don't know, because once again, it's Cleveland. And their history with quarterbacks is horrendous. it is the worst in the NFL. You had 40 quarterbacks in 26 years. That is bad. That is real bad. And you should try to make the best of this season. See what you have in these two young quarterbacks, which Shedeur is more than likely going to be your man. He's 2 to 4 times better than Dillion Gabriel. He's more prepared than Dillion Gabriel. I don't want to hear about he doesn't know the lingo, the language, or none of that. Because like I told you, production on the field versus don't know what you're talking about. And you can say Dillion Gabriel is far ahead of him in lingo and language and doing all the things. But his production is way back there when it comes to on the field. Yeah, we in shorts and t-shirts, but Shedeur's production is still light years ahead of Dillion Gabriel when it comes to producing on the field. And that is what counts. Because all that other stuff, it's 25 different ways to get around it. But you can't get around lack of production, lack of height, left-handed quarterbacks. There's only been a few. Steve Young is the most notable left-handed quarterback that did the damn thing. But if you listen to Jerry Rice, when he talked about catching balls from Joe Montana and switching to Steve Young, it's a big difference catching the ball from a left-handed quarterback. The offense has to flip. His blind side is now his right side. So that left tackle that you paid all that money to either is going to have to switch to the right side, or that right tackle is going to be 10 times better than he was when you wanted it. So there's a big difference when it comes to playing lefty. That's why I thought it would be better for Dillion to go to Miami, because Tua is left-handed. And when Tua gets hurt this season, Dillion is easily replaceable with Tua. Because then you change nothing when it comes to the offense, because they already run a left-handed offense. So, but anyway, I'm getting out of here, man. Y'all leave me y'all thoughts. Let me know what y'all think. Don't forget to click on one of these videos up in the corners, left side, right side, top side. But leave your comments in the comment section. I'm out of here, man. Peace.